Hello and welcome along to another episode and a brand new season from this FM21 Builder Nation story from Bangor City with me, Daniel. It's part 172 today and we're finishing the week with a transfer special and a Champions League group stage debut. So don't forget, we are now ranked 9th in the European club coefficients as a nation, which means we are straight into the group stages. So our focus this year and next probably is mainly on us in European competitions and our fellow Welsh counterparts doing the same. But today we've got to have a look at their transfer windows. Ours has been understated as expected, but TNS continue to push very hard. So if you're looking forward to seeing what they've done and whether we can go and get a result at the Nou Camp, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for new episodes every weekday from this series. We have got lots to get through still and we want that European final before we finish. But let's start today by having a look at our transfer window, because although it's been understated, we've still got in a couple of very good players, and interestingly, for the first time ever, albeit for an emergency backup for us, TNS competed for a signing with us, and won. But let's go and have a look at our transfers. A couple of big players leaving the club, a very big one potentially, we probably won't ever get to see the best of him, coming in January, and then a few little deals over the summer. Now, you're going to criticise me probably for the lack of spending again. I want to go to the scouting here and just show you something very quickly, because it's a problem I encountered all summer. None of the players across the whole summer that we had scouted came up with more than 3-star ability, with the exception of the holding midfielder we tried to sign last summer. Fulham survived in 17th place in the Premier League, otherwise we probably could have got him for 30 odd million, but it's not to be, and we have to wait another year. So with that in mind, with a young squad of huge talent, full of wonder kids that just need football to reach their potential, I would have been silly to bring in maybe the tiniest upgrade in, say, centre-half, but then harm the 2 wonder kids sitting behind them by not playing one of them every week. It doesn't make sense, because if we get through this season, they'll both be better anyway. So I'm seeing this as my one warm-up season for the big last push. Now, I'm hoping we've still got a squad that can compete right at the top in the Europa League potentially, but still, I think at the moment we have to focus on getting these youngsters through. So at the end of the save, I still think that's our best route of giving us a chance at winning a European trophy. I'll see if you disagree with me in the comments though. Let's have a look at the transfers that have been done, because the ones that are in and out are pretty decent, to be honest. So Matty Whittaker's at the bottom of the outs. He forced his way out of the club for 3.6 million. Wolves came in for him. He was throwing his toys out the pram. He was our 4th choice centre-half. At the end of the day, at 29 years of age, his value was only going to go down. He'd stopped getting in the Wales squads. I had to do it. So, Matty Whittaker, wonderful servant for this football club. Shame the way it's ended. But he now goes to Wolves, where I'm sure he'll be okay. And we got a decent fee for him too. TNS got one of our youngsters in on a permanent. We did also manage to extend the loan of Aid Tate for another season. And loads of other youngsters went across the Welsh division. Kresimir Lozado was the other big out. He goes to Dinamo Zagreb. We got a loan fee for him. We got 6 years of football out of him. And now he moves on to Dinamo Zagreb for nearly 5 million quid. I mean, it makes perfect sense really, doesn't it? He scored 4 in 4 for them. He scored nearly 1 a game for us in over 100 league appearances. And he scored some big European goals as well, particularly off the bench. Maybe not a star of the series, but certainly someone who is more important than we think when we look back. So that leaves us with 3 ins and a few loan extensions. So first bit of news. Kai McDonald, we tried to get him back on loan again. He left the club, chose not to stay. But we did manage to get Ruben Reyes tied down. We also kept Jason Odell just because I couldn't find a better replacement at the time. And now we've got 2 new loan stars who can come and join them at the club. So the first one is one of the ones I'm most excited about. Marcus Reddy joins from Manchester United. It's about 1.5 million overall. He is quality. He's a great centre-half. He's a great centre midfielder. And he'll probably rotate with Gomez Garcia as my first choice centre mid. But he's got them more defensive attributes. If we need someone to cling on to a game in Europe, if we do need a utility centre half, he does it. I'm also thinking at 22, he's not made it at United. He's not going to get much better. Could we potentially then get him on a permanent next summer? We also signed a young right back from Man United. This man, Dion Simmons. 20-year-old Welsh international, 1 appearance, but had been playing for the under-21s. 2.5-star ability, 5-star potential. Now, as it turns out, I probably didn't need this signing, but the thought process at the time was that West Brom had bid big for Ahmed Bektas again. He rejected them, in the end he didn't go, but Dion Simmons would have then been a perfect backup on the right with Gwyn Morgan switching to the left. Now though, we've got 5 good fullbacks and we'll find something to do with them. But again at 20, this one's got monstrous potential, even if he's not quite there yet. And his contract does expire at United at the end of the year. So if we can keep him happy and in the team regularly until January, then try and get him on a pre-agreement deal, I think we might have a little gem on our hands. So that's the one I'm looking at now. And maybe the replacement for Kai McDonald to finish the series. The third one, nothing to get excited about. You will have seen this name against us for a few years. We got the squads for the first international break. And you know I hate to cancel them and have a backlog of games. But we had a position where we would have only had 9 senior players. So Josh Ridd became the 10th. Just did a job for us. It's a good thing because we've got so many internationals. But 1.5 star ability, played in the SPFL Trust Trophy and got an assist. And for us, it'll just be a last resort and probably only ever play when there's internationals. So a quiet summer for us, but next year, given the status of the 2 Manchester United players, it could turn out to be a better one than it looks now. The only thing I have got to warn you of though, if we go to the squad, is that Harvey Lloyd is trying to force his way out at the moment. He's complaining about everything, he's leading dressing room revolts, and he's getting a lot of interest from the MLS. He's rejected 2 clubs already, but again at 29, if we can get, 8 or 9 million I think the last bid was, it's a deal we probably can't turn down. So he might be the next one out the club. We've got the usual spate of unhappiness from players that couldn't go to big clubs this year. Kyo Bulkley's first, both centre-halves, Jennings and Mubarak Whelan, Geffen Davis is as well, and Kellen Fletcher the left-back. So 5 players who at the moment a little bit unhappy. So once we get through the Barcelona game, we need them back in top form before we get to our next 2 Champions League matches. Of course, the only other slight things to mention, the fact that Kresimir Loza's gone and not been replaced, is with the view that Kean Bulkley now becomes 4th choice striker. He's part of the backup team. He's got 2 caps for Wales. He started his career there. And now he's got goals for us already. Scored 3 and 3 in the Welsh Premier League, 1 and 1 in the Cup. You can't ask for more. He's still improving and he's still going to be a superstar. So the only one I'm a little disappointed didn't leave is Ahmet Bektas. Again at 29, if we can make big money for him, it would seem sensible to do so, but we might end up having to offer him a new deal. Let's have a look at the transfers across the rest of the Welsh League though. So, biggest 7 transfers of the summer, all done by TNS or Colwyn Bay. Barrytown United dropping behind a little bit in terms of signings, but they did get a couple of decent ones in for free. So we'll go and have a look at those in a minute. But instead of focusing on the whole window, I'll just point out here that it's lovely to see Bala starting to invest in England. They must have changed their scouting a little. So we'll see if that pattern stays the same over the next couple of years, because they could be the next side to rise up. But let's individually go and have a look at the 3 clubs that have invested the most. And we'll start with maybe the slight disappointment in Barrytown United. So not a huge amount of work done. The signing from Millwall is a cheap backup keeper. The youngster from us is not great. However, they did sign Christian Bellis, who we released on a free. He's a very solid player at this level, and he will make an impact for them eventually. And in the other one, them and TNS and Colwyn Bay all taking advantage of Cardiff Met Uni's gradual decline. They bring in Jamal Watts on a free, who, to be honest, for the price they're paying, is a brilliant backup striker. So well done to Barrytown United there. They've also made a profit by selling Owen McMinamy, one of their centre-halves, to Colwyn Bay, where he's going to be a squad player there. So I don't think it'll be long before Colwyn Bay are the 3rd side. It will depend on European finances and then what happens in January, but they're certainly showing more intent to invest at the moment. And with that, let's go and have a look at them, because their summer has been very interesting. A few reserves sold, interestingly, to League 2 and National League clubs, so maybe a sign that this league's stronger than I think it is. But they've also spent $700,000, albeit most of it on deadline day. They got McMinamy and 2 players from Cardiff Met Uni just to bulk up the squad for cheap. They got in a little free agent deal, which, solid enough. He's earning big money there, but he's a good player. So they were trying to get good players in without spending a huge amount of money. McDonald, the 30-year-old Welsh centre-half from Wrexham on a free pre-agreed deal, I think is a little masterstroke. They also got Alan Hogan on loan from us at TNS last year as a squad player, but a really solid option. Then they started going big towards the end of the window. Now, they've spent big money on 3 players there. Their best signing is the free agent deal. I think it's the signing of the summer in Wales. So Corey Williams first from Plymouth, solid defender, will do a job for them. Same for Sam Hawkins from QPR, William Yaboa from Rochdale, £600,000, 21 years of age. I think that's part of the reason they paid big for him. But he's got all the key attributes if they can give him the development. The big one though, let's go and click on him. David Johnson on a free. He comes from Southampton, having left their youth academy at 22. Look at him. He scored 2 goals in 4 in Europe for them. He scored in the Welsh Premier League already, and he scored the winner in their League Cup tie. He is a class striker. Proper target man at 6'2". Got great traits such as placing his shots. He's an Irish under-21 international. He's brave. He's good off the ball. He's got good technique and passing. I mean, I think he's one of the best strikers in the league. I'd argue he's not far off Kean Bulkley there. So David Johnson is a brilliant signing, and Colwyn Bay making some real progress. Let's finish off though by having a look at TNS. We'll then go and have a look at how they're all getting on in Europe. Their transfer window was big at the end. They spent 1.9 million and all bar 150 grand of that was spent on deadline day. They also beat us to a signing. So in terms of the outs, they really managed to trim the squad, get loads of players off to the lower leagues and non-league in England, loan loads of players out across Wales, and then this is the business they've done instead. They got the youngster from us, they got Richard Kane in from Cardiff Met Uni, really solid centre mid at 31. One of those sorts of players that can do a real job for them in the league while they're playing in Europe. They've got to start to build that Cyper squad as well. The next one from Blackburn, nearly 100 grand, really good young right winger. Ken Looney from Kefin Druids, another one of the youngsters. It's a decent one to be fair. Kefin Druids let him go for next to nothing. Cian Latham came in from Notts County, really solid left back. But then deadline day came along and TNS went big. £1 million to Fleetwood for Luca, who is a centre mid and right winger. He is class, a good passer of the ball, good physically and decent in terms of crossing and dribbling and touch. He's got all of the technical stuff. I just worry about that aggression. At 19, it's going to develop and become great, but will he get himself sent off in some of the big games? We'll wait and see. He's an international footballer though. The one they beat us to the signing of was Marcus Davis, because we were looking for an emergency fourth choice centre half, a bit like we did with the midfielder Rid, just to fill the squad. But Marcus Davis chose to go to TNS over us. Aberdeen are the club that he's been loaned from, 51 grand in total. His attributes are very similar to Scott McKenzie, and he was our fourth choice centre half even till the year before last. He's got 34 under 21 caps for Wales. He's been a good footballer in the Scottish Premier League and in League One and a Championship in England. I think that's a really good signing for them this year. Surely will make a massive difference in European nights. The last signing, 750 grand, Matthew Eccles from AFC Wimbledon. Another really good squad player on the wing and up front. And you can tell that by the fact he's earning over 3.5 grand a week. He's got under 21 caps for Jamaica. And again, very solid player. I would argue TNS can compete with our backup team now. It's going to be really interesting to see if they can put on a fight in the Welsh Premier League, or do they prioritise going on a big run in Europe? Because maybe if they finish third in the Europa League and go through to the Europa Conference, there can't be that many stronger sides than them. Let's have a quick look at their progress in Europe. TNS unfortunately went out to Galatasaray, but it was slender. And they've now got Dinamo Zagreb and Brondby in their Europa League group. Now, I know they'll probably go out to Roma, and Kresimir Loza might end up causing them some problems for Dinamo. But surely they'll get at least third in that group. And if they do, European football after Christmas ticks the box again. Have a quick look at the other two. Barry Town United will be first because they finished third last year. They made it into the Europa League this time. They had a really fortunate draw in the playoff against Nefsi from Azerbaijan. They got the victory 4-0 on aggregate. Underwood in the first leg and joined by Palmer and O'Keefe in the second. They've now got a group that's probably a bit tougher. Napoli, FC Metz and Dundee United. Metz though, not as strong as you would expect them to be. And I hope Barry Town United can nick third in that group. Might give Dundee United a game as well. And then finally, our dear friends at Colwyn Bay. They've only gone and made it again, haven't they? Brilliant wins in the Europa Conference qualifiers. They battered Larne 5-0 on aggregate. They beat Basel 3-1 on aggregate. Paddy Collins getting most of the goals for them. One of their worst players in the 11. Not sure how he's managed that. But their group in the Europa Conference is SV Red, Utrecht from the Netherlands and KPV. Have they got a chance of getting second there? I sort of think they have. So much better draws than our Welsh counterparts got last season. Maybe Barry's is slightly tougher, but if they get third, they've got European football after Christmas. Cardiff Met Uni unfortunately didn't manage to do anything. They did get that 5th European spot. They snuck through in the first game, but then lost to Braga. Fairly narrow, but they are the disappointment, and I'd love for one of the Welsh semi-pro or professional sides to take over that 5th European place. So that's where we are this summer. A big review, a big transfer special, more for Welsh football than for us. But let's go and crack on with ours. I've got results to get you through first. So let's have a look at the 8 games we've played so far this season. Prestatyn away started it all off in the League Cup. Harvey Lloyd with a hat-trick, 2 of them free kicks. Strom, Cian Bulkley, Gethin Davis, Tom Jones and Matty Whitaker. A 5-0 win at home to Aberystwyth, including a Bojan Kvara hat-trick. A 6-0 win against Newtown, same again, Kvara with a hat-trick and Kyo Bulkley getting 1-2. 2-0 away at Colwyn Bay, Kane Waters doing a trick on that occasion for a very backup team. And then against Llanelli before the international break, a 6-0 victory. A late red card did nothing to change the game, but 2 apiece for Kvara and Cian Bulkley, and Jennings and Kyo Bulkley getting goals as well. In the international break, we named a bizarre team in the SPFL Trust Trophy. You can see Josh Ridd made his debut. Youngster Owen Brookwell had to play the holding role. Not even a holding midfielder. We just didn't have anyone available. But the rest of the team was too strong. Danny Gomez Garcia was phenomenal. Scored 2 goals and Kane Waters added a late third. A 4-0 win against Airbus. About half of the team were on internationals for that game. But Fletcher, Gordon, Jones and Kvara got 1 each. Our backup side came in to rest everyone for Barcelona. Kvara got 1 off the bench as he got some more fitness. But Kane Waters, Gethin Davis, Cian Bulkley and a brace from Tom Jones wrapped it up. So in good shape coming into the Barcelona match. I think we've got everyone available. Just Ludomir Sromp with a slight knock, but he wouldn't have played anyway. So let's go and get into it. A big transfer special, followed by Barcelona in the Champions League. It's going to be a big one. You can see the other 2 teams in our group here, and I think it's a kind group again. Aberdeen are a side we've beaten in Europe before. I think we're significantly stronger than them now. And Borussia Mönchengladbach, I mean, we gave them a game in season, 4 or 5 in Europa Conference. And they're a good team. They've got some very good players, but we're better than them on paper. So this should be the year we finish second. And ironically, it's the year I'd probably want to go into the Europa League, because I think we could win it. We'll see how it pans out. Barca away, the hardest game of the group. Let's pick our lineup and go through it in a second. Over 96,000 fans at the Nou Camp, possibly the biggest crowd that's ever watched Bangor City play. But this is the lineup we've gone for in this one. Zimancas between the sticks. Nenov joins the rest of a back 4 that's incredibly unhappy it didn't move on in the summer. Whelan getting off as a 30 million from the top 4 in England, but we held on to him. He's partnered by Jennings at centre half with Kellen Fletcher at left back. Odell, Reyes, Garcia and Kyo Bulkley the midfield diamond. Bulkley's always unhappy this time of the year. And then Lloyd Gordon, not really found form yet this season, is joined by Kvara up front. But I'm anticipating by next year, maybe Cian Bulkley's ready to take over. We've got quality on the bench, including 2 of the loan signings. But because of how the international break worked, they've both got a heavy match load. So we've had to be a little bit more careful. But let's go to Barcelona, see if we can get the result. Fingers crossed this will be a big night for Bangor City. Well, into the team talk, you can see a few of those players a little unhappy. It's harming the dressing room atmosphere a tad. But I'm hopeful that we can still get a positive outcome. We're going to work hard. We're going to try our best. You can see Barca's tactic there. It's a world-class team, and it is better than ours on paper. However, we've competed with some of the other Spanish big boys before, and I'd like to do the same here, though it doesn't look good at the start. Centre half has a free header, goes just over the crossbar. Zimancas caught in no man's land there. We'll be keeping an eye on the Aberdeen result. That's going to be interesting for us, and they're leading Gladbach. Now, I think we've got a better chance of getting a result against Aberdeen than Borussia Mönchengladbach. So we'll see if that works out. Because if Aberdeen win, that could be a good thing for us. And to be fair, because of Raith Rovers' exploits, Scotland are now 3rd in the coefficient table, which means Rangers, Celtic, Raith and Aberdeen all get into the Champions League. And that's meant we've gone up to the 2nd pot in the European Champions League draw, and Aberdeen win the 3rd. So we got a lucky draw there. Kvara loses out in the challenge as Fernandez wins it back. Been a dominant display so far from Barca, but they haven't got the goal. All we have to do is cling on, and we've obviously kept that balanced mentality to try and do so. As Julan gets down the right, Kyo Bulkley's brought him down. We're going to have a VAR to see if this is penalty or free kick. We'll skip back when he's made his decision. Here he comes. No penalty. Free kick given. But Bulkley and Fletcher definitely being harmed by the outside experience and the sort of transfer gossip. Please, just get on with the game. As the ball comes into the back post for Barca, another free header, but it's over the bar. We're still surviving, just. Well, we've almost made it to half-time. It's been much of a non-event so far. 1 shot on target each. Barca missed a couple of headers. Not much going on as Nenov plays down the right. Gordon makes the run. Centre-half's just too quick for him, unfortunately. Pardo chips it away. They're beating the press a lot easier than some of the other sides. I did notice that Gladbach had a man sent off early doors, so Aberdeen should go on to win that as Barcelona get in. Great save, Roberto Zimancas. He's had his spells of unhappiness in the summer as well, but he's back in top form now. Really good stuff from him, but Barca have the corner. We've seen their threat already. Into the middle, Jennings wins that one. It's away as far as Anchico. He's got the ball on the left-hand side. Takes on Gordon, who clatters him. That is a centre-forward's tackle, if ever you've seen one. Having said that, we're into 1 minute of stoppage time and it's still goalless here. I'll take this result right now, as Nenov plays it back to Reyes. Gets to the right-hand side. Can we nick the goal? Into Nenov again. Chips into Gordon. Shots blocked and hoof clear. It's only as far as Jennings on halfway. But at the half-time whistle, we just had possibly the best chance of the match. We're going to tell the lads to keep it up, get into the second half. If Aberdeen win and we get a point here, it's almost the perfect start to the group for me. Well, 25 minutes to go. I couldn't be much happier. And the signings we've made this summer mean I can now do this. I'm going to take off Kyo Bulkley, who's been throwing his toys out the pram. It's not match fit either. I'm going to bring on Marcus Reddy. Now, the reason I'm going to do that, he's going to go in here in centre midfield. Now, I'm not sure which one's best at which role. So Reddy's a box-to-box. Garcia's the playmaker. Okay. So Reddy will go as a box-to-box. Garcia, deep line playmaker on support. We are going to sit and try and get the point. Gordon's had a poor game, so I'll bring on Kane Walters. We know that the pace those two have got up front. And we'll leave the last one for now. But with 25 to go, this has been a phenomenal display and a great effort from the lads at the Nou Camp. As Walters has a free kick on the left, into the back post, Whelan loses out. And now Anchico's got the counter-attack. Nobody closes him down. Can we get the challenge in? Who's that coming across? Number 23, Marcus Reddy. Into the box, back to Karachi on the edge. Chance to shoot. Goes wide to Stevenson instead. Come on, let us hold on. Jaquette into the box. Reddy nicks it. Clears downfield towards Cavara. Loses out in the air, but Ruben Reyes is there first. Top class footballer now. So surprised Atletico don't want him back. And he's got an option down the line. Bojan Cavara started the season really well. Finds Gomez Garcia to Nenov. There's 2 or 3 in the box if he can find them. Get the ball in. Go short to Reyes. 4 in the middle. Oh, he's past everyone. Walters brought down though. Off the ball. Kane Walters brought down. Got to be a penalty kick. This could be one of the biggest moments in our history. Penalty given. Up steps Kane Walters. Come on, son. You have scored so many goals for this football club, but this might be the biggest. Into the top corner it goes. Kane Walters gives Bangor City the lead at the Nou Camp. And even by my standards and this team's standards, that is just phenomenal. 10 minutes to go. I've brought Briones on at right back, dropped them both to fullbacks on defend. We are trying to cling on here. And as we get to stoppage time, we're going to go to the time wasting. So we'll be back in a second. You all know the drill. And hopefully we can cling on. 5 minutes added on. Aberdeen are still winning. Surely if this stays the same, we must be favourites to win the group now. The only side that were better than us are Barcelona. And we have just FM'd them properly. Look at the stats. 3 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal from Kane Walters, the substitute. And it finishes Barcelona 0, Bangor City 1. Did I say this was going to be a warm-up season? Sorry, we're going to win the Champions League. Let's get cracking. Well, it says a lot that Roberto Simancas is man of the match. Doesn't often happen for us again because we normally dominate matches. But what a player this 25-year-old keeper is. And don't forget, former Real Madrid backup keeper. Maybe he wanted to prove a point against the big rivals. Let's go to the schedule though, because our next game has arguably become even more important now. We are going to skip through the Aberdeen game because it's just too close. And we will be back for Borussia Mönchengladbach at home. If we can win those 2 games and be on 9 points, I think we win the group. We certainly don't have to worry about whether we get through or not. So that's the one we're going to show next up. If you're looking forward to it and you did enjoy this big transfer special for Welsh football and a beautiful win at the Nou Camp, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for new videos every weekday from this series. There's links in the eye above to the Twitch channel with regular live streams and the football podcast too. But a massive thank you for watching, for joining me for another season. Have a good weekend and get yourself refreshed because we'll be back on Monday for big Champions League football. I'll see you there.